Tyson Franklin, and welcome to this week's episode of the Podiatry Legends Podcast. With me today is Sarah Bauling. Now, if you recognise that name, it's because Sarah was back on episode 327, and it was titled From Stage Fright to Spotlight, Speaking Strategies for Podiatrists. And if you missed that episode, do yourself a favour, go back and listen to it after you've listened to this one. So don't not listen to this one first. Now, Sarah is also known as the Perfect Pitch Guru, which is why we've got her on here today to talk about that. And when you understand the perfect pitch, it can help generate leads, convert clients, or in our case, patients, and ultimately make you more money, which is always a good thing. And I always say, if you don't like money, you can give it away to charity or you can send it to me. I'm quite happy with it. So Sarah, how are you doing today?
I am absolutely fantastic. We had so much fun the first time. I'm excited to be here again.
Full of energy, which is fantastic. So you said you have this thing called the Perfect Pitch Blueprint.
I do.
Which sounds very interesting. And it's actually funny because I've seen you online talking about the perfect pitch, and I've seen you do short talks about the perfect pitch. And it is one of those things that I think in podiatry or any profession, that when you're meeting someone for the first time or you get an opportunity to just even introduce yourself, there's such a good opportunity that can be wasted.
100%. And I think it's an interesting thing, Tyson, because often, and I say this a lot in all the work that I do, is generally when you meet business people, or if you look at yourself as an example, we know that we're really good at what we do. But when it comes to actually telling other people what we do, often we don't come across as the confident and the competent expert. So the pitch is a really good example of that. And again, where people go, I don't need that. No, as a business owner, you need it because there is someone who's going to ask you who you are, what you do, and how you can potentially help them. So for me, I think the pitch is the key thing for any business owner, whether they're networking or not.
Yeah, I always find it funny when you'll go to a networking event and you'll ask somebody, so what do you do? And it's almost like they were not expecting that question. And all of a sudden, and they hesitate over explaining what it is that they actually do. And then you can see the other person just going, I'm really confused.
Yes. One of my favorite sayings is the confused mind doesn't buy in. In other words, if they confuse, the conversation ends.
Yeah, and I know that myself when I've bumped into people and I'll ask them what they do. And if they're very wishy-washy with what they're doing, I'm thinking, well, if you can't explain it to me, I'm not going to say yes.
100%. That's correct.
So with this blueprint, the Perfect Pitch Blueprint, what is the blueprint?
Okay, so the blueprint is the perfect starting point for any business owner who wants to start creating and crafting their perfect pitch. And to put it into perspective, there are many ways that we pitch, or there are many ways that we're approached to pitch. So I'm going to throw that out there in the beginning to give it context, and then we can tighten that up as we go. So the first thing is, if you belong, for example, to a referral networking group where you're having to get up every single week and introduce your business, and there are many referral networking groups locally, nationally, and globally, online, face-to-face, etc., where you know you're going to get up and you've got 30 or 40 or 60 seconds. So that's the one area where you are absolutely prepared. You know you're going to pitch. The second pitch could come around where you're potentially speaking to a group of prospects and they say you've got 1 or 2 minutes to share your area of expertise. And again, that's pretty prepared. You know that it's coming. It's not like a surprise. It's all happening. You know that it's happening. And then, of course, there's the times where you meet someone and it's a very casual interaction. So that casual interaction could be at a barbecue. It could be at a networking event and you're just meeting people, right through to meeting someone like me at the shop and at Woolworths. Hey, how are you? What do you do? And you've got that pitch as well. Now, with any pitch, the key thing to remember is that very rarely will you give the pitch and someone will go, take my money. So what happens with the pitch is not about selling. The pitch is leading to what I call meaningful conversations. And the meaningful conversation is where the magic happens. What does that magic look like? It could be a variety of things. It could be, oh my goodness, I personally need your services. Or I don't need you, but now that I know what you do and how you can help people and who you help, I can introduce you to someone. Or I'm going to keep your details, so as and when I or someone I know needs you, I can do an introduction.
Yeah.
So pitch leads to many different things. And I guess in a way, there's a bit of psychology behind the back of it as well.
Can I ask a question for a sec?
Oh,
Just
please
because
do.
you mentioned the three where you're like a networking group, one where you could be at a luncheon and they're going, oh, we're going to get some people come up, do a 2 minute, quick little pitch about their business. But the third one you said, the social interactions, would probably be the majority of interactions you would have. I just
Oh,
from
100%.
my thinking, that would be a day-to-day thing. Whereas the
Yes.
other things could be, like you said, once a week, might be once a month.
Yep.
But your social interactions are an ongoing daily process.
100%. And they're both very different pitches. And we've probably got time. We can go through both
Yeah,
because they're both useful. And the great thing about it, though, is when you are delivering those pitches without the intent of selling, if your intention is, I just want this person to buy and I just want to take their money,
yeah,
people read into that. People are not born yesterday. So when we deliver our pitch in a sense that we're serving and helping, that's where people are like, hey, actually, I want to have this conversation. I want to learn more. So there's lots of stuff around the pitch, but if your headspace is, I want to introduce myself and my business, if that person is interested, we have a meaningful conversation, and then magic happens, then the rest follows. So yes, but I love the social interactions as well, because for me personally, that's probably where I start most of my conversations, is with random people in random places that lead to
I
magical
could,
endings.
I could see that happening.
Is that one on the train who talks to people? What?
Who's this crazy lady sitting next to us?
Crazy lady
Yeah.
at the top of her voice. No, I'm that person. I'm okay. I'm okay with that.
It's only if you got a parrot on your shoulder that people start to think you're a bit odd.
Don't even go there.
We've all seen that person with the parrot on their shoulder who comes up and starts talking, and you're like, no, I don't want to.
Or a lizard. Why did
Oh, the lizard, yeah, or the fluffy white dog wearing a cap.
how did we go there from
I don't know.
such fun, Tyson? Oh
So
dear.
please continue.
Okay, so do you want me to take a dive straight into the perfect pitch blueprint as a start? And then we can have a look at the social pitch
Yeah,
at
yeah, that'd be
the
great.
Okay, perfect. So what I would suggest is, particularly to your listeners, providing they're not driving, is to grab a pen, grab a paper, and actually start doing. So as I go through this process, I want you to really think about your own pitch and the pitch that you could be creating. And what comes out on the other side, and let's say in about 5-10 minutes when we've gone through it, may not be the final version. But you've got a starting point. And I'm going to give you lots of tips and tricks and techniques that you can use to really shimmy it up and really refine it. But my suggestion is start, because the rough version is what you start with to create something that's really beautiful. It's one of those things you can watch someone ride a bicycle, but the best way to learn is to actually get on the bike. So I want your listeners to jump on the bike with us, yeah.
I saw a good
And
quote only this morning, and it said something about 5 minutes of action is worth more than 1 year of planning.
oh my gosh, I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. So, so true. Yeah, and that really applies. So,
And I know there's probably people listening to this who, I know a lot of people listen to this while they're driving, while they're walking, while they're exercising. But what I'd suggest, if for some reason you don't have a pen and paper with you right now, as soon as you get back to your workplace, go to your diary. And this is what I tend to do because I listen to a lot of podcasts. If I listen to a podcast where there's doing involved, I go to my diary and I block out a time straight away. I'm going to go back, listen to that episode, and actually take action.
100%, 100%. So let's get doing.
Let's get
Let's
into
get
it.
going. And even if you're walking and driving at the moment, you'll hopefully get some great ideas as well. Okay, as we go, I'm going to give you my pitch. And the reason I do that is so you can see how it actually builds. Okay, so we've got 7 things, 7 key elements. That's it. The very first one that we're going to start with is nice and easy. And this, of course, is your name. So in a professional environment or in a business environment, I know we laugh,
I
right?
don't know why I'm laughing, but sorry.
Don't worry.
Yes.
So particularly in a professional environment where you've actually been asked to or invited to stand up and deliver your pitch, whether it's referral networking or a planned pitch, whatever it is, you always want to give your first name and in a business setting, your last name or your surname as well. And the reason for that is it starts you off, it places you, and we can never assume that everybody knows us. So there will always be someone in that room who doesn't know you or who's not 100% sure. So as an example, mine would be, hi, my name is Sarah Bauling. Again, when you give your first name and your last name, it makes it really easy for people to stalk you. I mean, for people to find you.
Yeah.
So people can think they've got your, because I mean, I always say I'm 1 in a million, but like literally, I am 1 in a million because there are about 1 million Sarahs on LinkedIn and 1 million more on Facebook. So again, first name and surname makes it super easy for people to find you. Second key element, this is what you do. So we often have a tendency to go like, hey, my name is Sarah Bauling from Bauling Enterprises, because that's the name of my business. But when I say Bauling Enterprises, no one has any cooking clue what that is. What do I do? So I might say, well, you know, everyone in my street knows what I do. That's great. But are you dealing with people locally in your street, or are you dealing with a global audience? So again, your company name, if it's important, there's another spot for it. But number 2 is, what do you actually do? And you want to simplify this to the nth degree, to the simplest form that it is. You're a butcher, you're a baker, you're a candlestick maker, whatever that looks like.
Okay.
So in my world, again, you may get, and this is where you spend time with it, getting a little bit more creative. So I could say my name is Sarah Bauling, and I'm a professional speaker specializing in the perfect pitch. I shimmy it up a little bit. So my name is Sarah Bauling. I work with business owners to help them create, craft, and deliver their perfect pitch. So again, I was really specific in terms of who I work with.
That's good. Yeah, it's a big difference.
It's a big difference. And again, I might be, if I'm pitching, for example, to a group of students and we're looking at a pitch to get work, I would use a slightly different pitch.
I met an accountant once who actually introduced himself. Instead of saying he was an accountant, he said, I help people pay less tax.
Fantastic. Okay.
And you saw even people on the other side of the room heard that and just turned and came walking over. So I heard something about you help people pay less tax. He goes, yeah. And if he had said, I'm an accountant, we would have gone, oh, okay.
Another accountant.
Yeah. Let's have a look at some spreadsheets.
Exactly. So you want to get this sexy and you want to, like I say, spend time on it and really think about how you can bring people in that very, very first moment. Okay. We then move to the third element. And the third element is around the pain points. So again, you might be thinking, well, why do we want to launch into the pain points? Well, we need to get there because people have got problems that we need to solve. So with the pain point, a really easy way to announce it would be asking a question. And think about the pain point that is relevant to your audience and that could be relevant at this time, as an example. In fact, if we're talking about accountants, there's no point in them talking about fringe benefits for the Christmas party in February, because that's still a long way away. They may have something that's more relevant at that time of the year. So again, it could be around the seasons, it could be around the months, it could be around things that are happening locally, nationally, or globally that relate to your business. So again, with those pain points, what's relevant now, a great idea is to look through your order book or your emails or your text messages and see what are people actually asking for at the moment, if it had to be seasonal.
Yeah. So
mine as an example is, my pain point is, have you ever delivered your pitch and afterwards thought of all the things you could have, you should have, and you would have said if you had just been prepared? Now, most of my clients and my ideal audience would say, yes, that's me, 100%. So you could ask it as a question.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. So, and again, the pain points, you don't want to give them a whole list, right? You don't want to go like, have you got this and this and this and this? Because they'll be like, oh my goodness, it's overwhelming. So just pick 1, 2, or potentially 3 things that you can bang out pretty quickly. And there's a little bit of a technique that I'll teach you on the pain points as well as at the end, some tips. We then move into number 4. And number 4 is the product, the service, or the solution that you offer or it could be your company name. So as an example, I'm going to do 3 and 4 together. Oh, and number 4 is said mid-sentence, by the way, so it's not a complete sentence. So number 3, have you ever delivered your pitch and afterwards thought of all the things you could have, you should have, and you would have said if you had just been prepared? Through the Perfect Pitch Academy, you will. So all I've mentioned is I have a solution. I haven't told you where, when, how, what's included, how much it costs, how long it's going to take. I haven't gone into the detail. All I've said is there is a solution.
Okay.
Then we move into number 5, which is the gains. And the gains are often the polar opposite, of course, of the pain. So again, there's no point in saying, you know, do you need more time? And with this, I make you more money. What? It's 2 different things. So again, you're generally working with polar opposites. Now, the nice thing about the gain is you want to keep it short, you want to keep it sharp, but you need to make sure that it is relevant. So I'm going to give you my 3, 4, 5 so you can hear how it flows. Have you ever delivered your pitch and afterwards thought of all the things you could have, you should have, and you would have said if you had just been prepared? Through the Perfect Pitch Academy, you will, and here comes the gain, be in a position to deliver your pitch with confidence and clarity to anyone, anywhere, anytime.
Sounds
okay.
good.
Let's talk about the psychology of what's going on here with the listeners. You've mentioned a pain at number 3 and they go, oh my goodness, this hurts. You basically punched them in the gut.
Sorry.
I sound aggressive. I'm not aggressive.
I just got a visual.
Okay, so now that we've got them down,
now they're buckled over.
There is a solution where they go, okay, this sounds good. This feels like a relief. And then the gain, number 5, is everything that they actually want. And that's when they go, okay, wait, I'm interested. So normally it is at that point where the lights really switch on. If you're looking at someone, you can see that shift. Then we move into number 6. Now, number 6 is awesome. Number 6 is your credibility statement. In other words, why you? And there are many things that can be in the why you. It could be your experience. So, for example, you could say with over 10 years of experience or with over 3 decades of experience. So you could talk about experience. You could talk about numbers. You could talk about your team. Our team collectively has 180 years of experience, as an example. And then the tricky one is when you've got a brand new business owner who goes, I don't have the numbers and I don't have the team and I don't have the decades. And there's 2 ways of approaching that.
Yeah.
You can talk about your experience. That's all yours for the taking. Or you can talk about passion. And passion is a really great one to talk about, particularly as a new business owner, because hopefully you're doing what you do because you're passionate about it and the lives that you get to change through the work that you do. And the reality is people buy into people no matter what. So you're more likely to buy into a passionate person than not. If someone goes, I'm doing this job because I really hate it and I just need to basically pays the bills and keeps the cat off the street, they're going to be, I don't want to deal with this person. So passion can be a really big seller as well. Now, your credibility statement is not your autobiography. Okay, so we really want to be clear on what that credibility statement is. Short, sharp, and to the point, and again, relevant. So my one is pretty easy. With over 20 years of experience in sales and marketing, I understand the power of the pitch. So I've given the credibility, 20 years, sales and marketing, and I've obviously seen how it all works. So again, when we build these statements, and I'm talking from 1 all the way through to 7, each one of these points gets refined. Because when you refine it, it sounds easy on the ear and it's easy to deliver as well. So your credibility statement may change depending on your audience and depending on who you're actually speaking to. And again, if we look at podiatry as an example, if you're speaking to other podiatrists, there may be other things that you want to talk about versus the lady or the man on the street, your general person.
Yeah, it depends what you're doing in podiatry. Like from my point of view as a business coach for podiatrists, how I would talk to podiatrists, but there'll be other podiatrists who are doing workshops and seminars on particular areas, where it's foot mobilization or shockwave or just other techniques, but they still need, if they were doing a talk on a particular area of podiatry, I want to know they've got experience in that area. And I want to know
100%.
they're passionate about that area. They're not just doing it for the hell of making money. They're doing it because they love that aspect of podiatry. So I thought now would be a perfect time to just dive in and remind everybody that if you're looking or considering a podiatry business coach, before you reach out to some of the larger coaching companies, please go to my website, tysonfranklin.com, and read through the coaching section. You'll see I've got a model there called the Thriving Podiatry Business Model. And after you read through everything, there's also a link to my online calendar. From there, we can organize a 30-minute Zoom call. We'll have a bit of a talk. I'll explain the Thriving Podiatry Business Model in a bit more detail. And you may find just after that call, that is all you need just to give yourself a little bit of guidance. But if you want to take it further, I can give you more information. So please go to my website, tysonfranklin.com, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Okay, let's get back to the interview.
Absolutely, 100%. So again, when we build those credibility statements, now I think I spoke about it before in the last episode as well, as we talk about authenticity, because people can see through non-authenticity and people will still buy into people, whatever that looks like. So even those credibility statements, be authentic in terms of why you're giving it. Okay, we then move into the final one, number 7, and this is my favorite. When I first came to Australia and I delivered this talk, someone said to me, "We don't do that in Australia." I said, "You don't do what?" They said, "We don't do that." I said, "No, this is your call to action. I'm not saying buy. I'm not saying give me your money. I'm not saying buy now and you get 6 free steak knives. What I'm saying is you get 12. I'm joking. So, number 7 is the invite to engage. And that invite to engage can be really simple. It could be, mine is super simple. If you are keen to learn more, I invite you to reach out and engage with me. I use the word engage, and I know it's a very old-fashioned word, but it's a word that I'm super comfortable with.
Yeah.
So again, that call to action could be, if you know someone who needs this, I'd love an introduction. Or my ideal introduction would be a butcher, a baker, a candlestick maker. Or if this is something that interests you and you'd like to find out more, let's jump on a Zoom call, or I can send you info, or we can go for a coffee, or whatever. Another nice word is, if you're curious to learn more, let's have a chat. So I always ask for the invite to engage so that people know that that door is open, as opposed to, no, this is what I do, but I'm fully booked.
Yeah.
Like, in other words, the conversation just ended. So that invite to engage can get a couple of results. People either go yes, or they say not ready right now. That's okay. But what we've done is we've said, hey, we're open for business. We're open to have this conversation. We'll take this conversation further. So what I'm going to do, Tyson, I'm going to go through my pitch.
Yeah.
And hopefully your listeners who are either walking or driving are kind of running through it in their head. And those that have got a pen and paper are actually going through their pitch to make sure they've got everything. So, number 1, my name is Sarah Bauling. Number 2, what you do, I work with business owners to help them create, craft, and deliver their perfect pitch. And number 3 is the pain point. Have you ever delivered your pitch and afterwards thought of all the things you could have, you should have, and you would have said if you had just been prepared? So number 4, remember, said mid-sentence. Through the Perfect Pitch Academy, you'll be in a position, number 5, to deliver your pitch with confidence and clarity to anyone, anywhere, anytime. Okay, credibility is my number 6. With over 20 years of sales and marketing experience, I understand the power of the pitch. My call to action, if you'd like to learn more, I invite you to reach out and engage with me. That's it.
Done.
Done. Now, a couple of tips and tools. By the way, I've got a pitch library. I've probably got about 500 different pitches.
Because I was going to say, like, the way you said that, if you were talking to someone at the local shopping centre that you just bumped into, you're not going to run through, you're going to make you're still going to go through the 7, but it's going to be more natural. So that pitch you just did then, I could picture you pitching that. So you've got 30 seconds to come up and do or you're at a networking, stand up and tell me about your business. And you do that. Everyone goes, that is a well-rehearsed, perfect pitch.
Correct. So we're going to go into that conversational pitch in a minute, but I'm going to
Yeah.
give a couple of tips here because that's going to help our conversational tip. So when we're developing our pitch, and like I said, I've got hundreds of pitches depending on who my audience is and also what I'm wanting.
Yeah.
Where we talk about fringe benefits in February and the Christmas party in December, it's the same thing. I've got a pitch for every occasion. So when I build those pitches, I follow the 7 key elements, and then I get sexy and we get fun, have some fun with it. Okay, so a couple of tips. Number 1, think in threes. So when you think in threes, it means that you do not feel overwhelmed. You don't think, oh, where do I stop the list of pains or gains or results? Or, where do I stop? Because you can just go on forever, right? We could just go on and on and on for days. So you want to think in threes. Think of before, during, after, as an example. Here, now, then, whatever that looks like. The second thing you want to think of is using alliteration. I always feel like I'm back in school when I say this. So alliteration are words that start with the same letter or the same sound. So a fun, fabulous photographer is an alliteration, even though a photographer is with a PH.
Yeah.
A cat kicks a cow, same thing. So what are the alliteration opportunities that you have? Because when you alliterate it, it sounds really, really refined, and it catches people's attention. Clear, confident, concise, as an example. Anyone, anywhere, anytime. When I think in threes, one that's not an alliteration is local, national, global. So when you start thinking in threes and you put them into these little magical packages, it makes it really easy for you to remember, really easy to deliver, and really easy for them to absorb. So again, even on that, I worked on three statements. So you want to think in threes and you want to think of alliteration. If you want to get really, really fabulous, you might think of rhyme. If there's a rhyme, you can throw into the mix something that rhymes.
Yeah.
So if I go through my pitch, I've got anyone, anywhere, anytime. Deliver with confidence and clarity is my 2 C's. I help you create, craft, and deliver, CCC. So, threes, C, C, and D. So looking like Sarah, your alphabet.
Yeah, I'm going by. Yeah, your alphabet needs a bit of work there.
Needs a bit of work. Okay, how do we find these words? You can go and thesaurus them. I think you can probably even do it on ChatGPT, like find 2 words that start with a C that rhyme with clear or something. I don't know. But you'll find there's ways to get those words. I'm an absolute lover of words. I always say I'm a bit of a word nerd. But when you start opening your eyes to these words, they are everywhere. Another one's refresh, refine, and revamp, as an example.
And a lot of companies do this.
Oh, this is
Heaps of them do this.
Marketing 101. Yeah, your lives will never be the same again. You will just see threes in alliteration everywhere. I apologize. Okay, so that is those are a couple of tips that we can use when delivering the prepared pitch to an actual audience.
Yeah.
If I find that I'm delivering to a new audience and perhaps I've never stood in front of them before or that industry before, in my head, I go through the 7 key elements. I'm very clear what could be their challenges, what solution do I offer within what I've got, and what's the result when they've worked with me, and what credibility statement's going to resonate with them. And then, of course, how do I actually want to engage with them? So even I go through that 7 steps, obviously go through it super quickly, but I go through the same thing. So I'd suggest that your listeners do the same thing because it works. And I know it works because I had to build my business from scratch with nothing. And the pitch is what started all my amazing conversations. Okay, so are we good to go on to the conversational pitch, Tyson, or do you have any questions?
I have one question.
Okay.
Could somebody use their perfect pitch at the beginning of a talk? If they were going to get up and do a half-hour talk for Rotary, could they get up and start their talk with their perfect pitch?
So,
And today I'm here to talk about after they've done that perfect pitch.
Okay, so there's
Slightly
a couple of things.
modified,
I love that you brought that up. I'm going to digress. I feel like we're digressing. We're going to get to the other one. Okay. So with the perfect pitch, people often think of it as, oh, okay, I deliver it at a networking event or we meet someone at Woolies or Coles or whatever. The perfect pitch has got a multitude of places that it can go. And this is why it's worth investing the time on actually getting this pitch right. You can use your pitch because remember, as a speaker, you never want to get up and start talking about yourself
Yeah.
first. Oh my golly, this is terrible.
I
So
know.
there's ways that we create that engagement as a speaker. Your pitch, part of that pitch, and you could rewrite it slightly, would be given to your MC or your host who introduce you. So by the time you walk on, you're the credible expert. You can use your pitch and elements of that pitch, for example, in your social media, in your LinkedIn. If you're being interviewed on a podcast, as an example, that may be the pitch. I think if you go back to the intro that we had for this and the last one, it's carefully curated so that by the time you are introduced, you are the credible expert. So your pitch can be used in many, many different places. And again, I'm going to digress again slightly. You don't just have one pitch. So the pitches that you use, you can pull into social media. I've got clients who've worked with me for 2 or 3 years, and people go, "How?" And they go, "Every week I do a pitch that I give at my referral networking group."
Yeah.
It's the same pitch where I write an article with that theme. I use the same pitch to do a short video on my social media, and I pull it out and I do a post on social media. So one pitch can go into 5 different places before you've even started.
Okay, so even when you're just shooting a short video or something you're going to talk about, you'll go through your perfect pitch
100%.
in the introduction of it.
Absolutely. And again, it might be shorter, it might be sexier, it might be snazzier, but when you're working through that process, you're getting all the information.
Okay, so I can tell people now in the future, after you watch this, some of my video introductions will be sexier.
Oh, they're going to be so sexy. You can't wait.
A little bit sexier at the beginning. I'll wait, because I did when I'm shooting videos. I introduce myself, but I don't dive in. I don't dive into a refined pitch when I do it. I just dive in. So I'm going to work on that. I'm going to think about that and work on it a little bit more.
And the challenges never end, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's have fun. Let's jump into the conversation pitch. And again, what's interesting when I do workshops and the like, and I always say to people, "What was your greatest takeaway?" I love feedback. And often when I've taught this, what I call the 10-second pitch, many people go, "That's a cool pitch," because that pitch leads into the big pitch. And I'm like, absolutely. Okay. So this pitch is super simple. It's got 3 elements, nice and easy. Don't have to overthink it. And in my pitch program, I literally, it falls under challenging pitches because I've got how to make it longer, how to make it shorter, and what on earth to do with it. So this is the making it shorter. There are 3 elements. Okay, number 1 is your name. The good news is you all know your name. Do we use our first name and our last name? It depends on the setup.
Yeah.
Again, I repeat, just for the sake of repeating, is in a professional environment, we always use our first name and our last name. Always. In a social setting, if I had to say my name is Sarah Bauling at a barbecue, they'd be like, "She is no fun." And I'm fun. So in a social setting, you might just use your first name. Business setting, first and last name. So number 1 is your name. Number 2 is your same. In other words, what do I do that anyone can understand? So in other words, I'm a butcher, I'm a baker, I'm a candlestick maker, I'm a plumber, I'm a podiatrist, I'm a business coach, I'm a beehive keeper. In my world, I'm a professional speaking coach. So in other words, people can marry it up pretty quickly.
Yeah.
We do not want to get complicated and we do not want to get sexy with that. This is a 10-second pitch, no time to think. The third part is fame. The fame is what makes you different. So this could be your unique selling point. It could be, I help you save money on taxes, as an example, going back to what you said earlier with the accountant. Your fame needs to be short, sharp, and clear. Okay?
SSC.
SSC, but there were 3 things, okay?
Well, you've done the 3 things here with name, same, and fame.
There you go. And they rhyme.
And it's easy to remember. That is so easy to remember. You're about to meet someone, you're walking up to them and you go, name, same, fame. Name, same, fame. Yeah.
Now, here's some tips. Do you remember in the 7 key elements, a couple of tips I gave your listeners were think in 3s and think alliteration. The reason I gave it there is that was not given for no point. We can bring exactly the same thing into our 10-second pitch. So as an example, my name is Sarah Bauling. I'm a professional speaker specializing in the perfect pitch, and I help you take your pitch from bland to brilliant.
I thought you were going to say grand.
From bland to grand. It's another one. Can you see how quickly you're picking this up? Oh my gosh. We take it from terrifying to terrific. So I'm using TT, CC.
Yep.
We take it from oh no to let's go, as an example.
Oh, not sure about that one, but
Not sure about that one.
not sure about that one. Oh no to let's go. Be going, oh no,
Play things out.
no, let the one go.
Play things out. And when you say to go, oh, that was good or that was awful, we take it from awkward to amazing.
Oh, I like that one.
Okay, or it could be, I help you deliver your pitch with confidence and clarity. Help you connect with anyone, anywhere, anytime. So the very same things that we're bringing into the longer pitch, we can bring into our name, same, and fame. Now, the nice thing about the name, same, and fame is this. Someone will meet you, they'll go, hey, what do? You go, oh, my name is Sarah. I'm a professional speaking coach. I help you create a pitch that goes from bland to brilliant. And they go, oh, in other words, they're not interested. Is that okay? Yes, it's okay. Because not every lid fits every pot. What that means is I have not.
I love that.
All these gems.
Oh, that is just, not every lid fits every pot. Yeah.
It means that I haven't wasted more of their time. And to be honest, they haven't wasted my time either. It means that we can move on.
Yeah.
Or they go, ooh, wow, that sounds interesting. Tell me more. They've now given you permission. At this point, you may pull elements from the perfect pitch blueprint, from those 7 keys. Might be a question out of curiosity, what do you do? Oh, you do that. Immediately you're thinking, what could their challenge be? So again, you're using that name, same, fame to start what we call the meaningful conversation. I go back to the beginning of today's podcast. The meaningful conversation is where the magic happens. Another little tip that I'm going to throw in on the name, same, fame, particularly in a casual networking environment, is if you've got 3 or 4 of these up your sleeve, say, for example, Tyson, you and I are chatting and someone joins us and they go, oh, what do? You can just do another one. My name's Sarah, I'm a professional speaking coach, and I take your pitch from awkward to amazing. And you go, oh, I thought you said from bland to boring. I do that too.
Yeah.
You just have a couple of these, which means as people are joining your group, they're not going, oh no, here she goes again. You got something different every time. And again, those little taglines that I've seen in my world of coaching and training and through the academy is often the little bylines that we've come up with the name, same, fame, have become a key part of many of my clients' key messaging. So again, what started as an idea has led into a beautiful destination.
Yeah, and I can see how that shorter version, like when you do your, say, video introductions, would you do more the shorter version than you would that longer version, wouldn't you?
But and what I would say is shake it up. There are times to go bang, 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 name, same, fame, kick straight into it. You may go into the longer pitch where you're looking at a real challenge that clients are having, where you almost want to scratch the itch. Scratch that itch, go deep, go deep, go deep, and then launch into it. So you can use a combination of both. And again, as a speaker and someone who's out there, putting things out to the world on socials, etc., it means that it's not always the same old.
Mm.
We get to shake it up and shimmy it up a bit. And do you want to have fun with your pitch? Absolutely, because if you're having fun, everyone else is having fun.
Because I was going to say that, could you be sometimes too rehearsed? Like when you're running through it at the beginning, I'm thinking, okay, if you're up on stage, I would expect a very rehearsed pitch.
Yep.
If there was a lot of ums and ahs and you were thinking about them going, oh, I'm not sure you even know what you do.
Correct.
Whereas if it was very rehearsed, I would go, okay, that was very well rehearsed, but it sparked my curiosity. I want to know more. And then I talked to you when you came off stage.
Yes.
Like we said before, depending on the situation, beginning with a video, meeting someone at a shopping center or at a social barbecue, even if you do it, keeping it simplified,
keep it simple.
You've still got to have fun with it and add your personality to it.
100%. And you'll find in a social environment, you'd never really get through a 30-second pitch because people would interrupt or ask a question or agree or nod their head or something, make a sound. So it is conversational. And I guess that's it, is really pulling it apart, going, right, I'm going plan, strategize, like never just, I always say hope is not a great strategy. We don't go to an event and hope something's going to happen. Like, what's the plan? So again, I'm going to this event. What is the setup? Are we going to be given 30 seconds to introduce our business? Excellent. I'm going to prepare that so that when I get up, I come across as strong and powerful and organized and expert. Bang. Is it going to be an event where it's super casual? What are my 10-second pitches so that as I meet people, we can really spark their curiosity with whatever that looks like? And while I'm there, who's going to be in that room so I can find my 10-second pitch that is most likely to resonate with them? That's the networking side. When we look at our things like videos, who is the video for? What are their pain points? What are we actually doing today? And you're actually creating it based around the people or based around your audience. And when you go in with a plan, well, then the rest will happen. Then it's magic.
I'm loving this. To me, it actually reminds me of if you were going to an event, an occasion. Depending on what the occasion is, you'll sit down and plan out what you're going to wear. If you're going to a wedding, if you were going to a funeral, if you're going to someone's backyard barbecue, if you were just going to a network breakfast or a network lunch, you would sit there and you wouldn't just walk out of the house and just throw a pair of thongs and a singlet to go to a networking lunch. You would sit back and go, where am I going? What am I going to wear? And you have that prepared, you put it on your go. So I'm thinking your pitch is pretty much the same. You've got to pick which pitch are you going to wear today for the environment you're about to go to.
Yeah, 100%. I was in a networking event yesterday, actually, and I've got a couple of things that are going on with the speaking and the pitching, and like there's quite a bit going on. And I literally went, what is my objective for today? What am I actually promoting today? And I got to the event, everything was perfect in my head. And I sat down and there were people in the room that were brand new. And I thought, actually, I need to do a different pitch today because I can reach and impact more people with something else. So even right there and then when I got there, I was like, I had a plan, but I'm going to change the plan based on who's in front of me.
Yeah, so you got to be able to quickly adapt too, because you may turn up to a backyard barbecue in a pair of thongs and a singlet, and all of a sudden everybody else is better dressed. Always,
Yeah,
always good to have a spare shirt in the back of the car.
absolutely. But again, with that, what makes that easy is the framework.
Yeah.
Because if you've got that process, you've got 1 to 7, just follow that. Or you've got your name, same fame. Just follow the process. Trust the process. The process works.
But it's almost like a hack on how to introduce yourself the right way in the right environment.
Yep. Right people, right place, right time.
Yep. There's your threes again.
Everyone's gonna be like, no. So that, there you go. But yeah, so that is it. That's the perfect pitch, Tyson, all wrapped up with a bow around it.
But I can see how podiatrists can use this in so many different ways, whether they're meeting another health professional. They've made a time to go and see a doctor, a physio, a chiropractor. And a lot of times I've had podiatrists ask me, I'm not quite sure what to say. Plan this out. Prepare what you're going to say in that environment. But if you're going to a podiatry conference and you're going to meet people there, just be prepared on how you're going to introduce yourself. If you're talking to suppliers, but then when you're in the consultation room with a patient, is how are you going to talk to that patient? It can be applied in so many different areas.
So many different areas. It's endless.
This has been fun. I've really enjoyed this.
But once you've got this pitch, go out there and that, that's the next piece of advice I give is don't be afraid to go out and do it. Is every name, same and fame perfect? No. I mean, today we threw one out and we're like, oh, that was horrible. Guess what? Never using it again. Or let's refine it. Let's make it sexy. So have fun with it because it's just words.
Yeah, and everything gets better with practice. If this feels awkward, it's because you haven't done it multiple times, and the more you do it, the better you're going to get. And remember, like even my introduction, when I do the Podiatry Legends introduction, and help you, feel, see, and think differently about the podiatry profession. So I'm using 3 things there as well. My book, what do I always say, the world's best podiatry business book ever written. It's no secret, there's money in podiatry. Back when I had hair, but it's a guide to earn more, work less, and enjoy what you do each day. There's 3 things there as well.
Yep.
A lot of places actually do that. So what if people want to get hold of you? Are you doing any training at the moment? Give us some more details, some information.
Yeah, 100%. So basically, I've got a couple of things. I've generally got a workshop scheduled somewhere. I normally run my workshops live in Sydney. And obviously, if anyone's keen on any of these, engaging with me, absolutely welcome to reach out and connect. The second thing which works really, really well, where I've got clients locally, nationally, and globally, is I run the Perfect Pitch Academy, where everything is actually run online. And there's some real advantages in the academy. There's several different areas. The first thing is I have an online course called the Perfect Pitch Program, which has got 8 modules, 49 lessons. Each lesson's got a video, a worksheet, and a download. My academy members have unfettered access to that online program, so they can access it anywhere, anytime, providing they've got an internet connection. That's the first part. The second thing that we do in that is every 3 months, I run a workshop online, which is a 2-hour workshop online, where we learn some new pitch techniques. So we might do the ABC pitch or a prop pitch or a humorous pitch, whatever it is. I teach the technique, so they learn it, they do it and create it, and they connect with other business owners right across the globe, which is great fun.
So like anything, you're refining your craft as well. So you're always still doing your own research and then bringing that back into the academy.
100%. I think when I started this business, I probably had like 5 key pitches. Now I've got about 500, it's great.
No, that's good.
The third part of the academy, which is really big value, is what I call practice your pitch. And the practice your pitch sessions, I run 3 a week at the moment. And basically my members roll in, go, this is the pitch I'm working on, blah, fish paste. I give you feedback, and then most importantly, you get feedback from everyone else in the group. And the value of that feedback is huge, because sometimes the feedback is, I have no idea what you do.
Yeah.
That's really valuable feedback, because no actual prospect's going to say, I don't know what you do. They just look confused or don't buy. So in that space, you really get to refine the pitch. The second thing is we basically thieve in the academy. So you'll come up with an idea and someone will go, I love that. I can do the same thing. I'm going to bring that into my world as well. So you really get some great ideas and inspiration from others in the group, and that feedback as well, which is absolutely priceless. So you prepare, you practice, and you polish your pitch.
No, that's good. So where can people, what website should they go to find this information?
So the website is perfect. So perfectpitchguru.com. If you jump onto that website, it is packed with information. There's blogs, there's a whole lot of stuff on there as well. And of course, you are welcome to reach out to me, Sarah at perfectpitchguru.com. And I'm sure that, Tyson, I'm sure you'll have some links up as well.
Yeah, I'll have the links in the show notes. So, Sarah, I want to thank you again for coming back on the Podiatry Legends podcast, sharing your wisdom and helping podiatrists to have a more perfect pitch. And I think there's a lot of podiatrists out there who should jump on board with this. And if they can't get to Sydney, then at least check it all out online. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Tyson. It's an absolute pleasure being with you again, and really enjoyed our time together. So thank you.
No, this has always been fun. Okay, I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.
Bye.